Welcome back. I'm Tyler, you're watching Scarfing Scarves, and welcome to the 31st installment of Last Week Lolita News. At the top of the segment, Jesus Christ, did this show fall off a cliff? Chalk it up to this reporter's ongoing cycle of self-destruction, and to get back to the subject matter distracting enough to draw my attention away from the sweet call of utter oblivion. Let's see what we've missed while we've been away in the form of Angelic Pretty, along with their annual brigade of fructose frippery with the release of Fresh Cherry. The series comes in every color, from eye-gougingly awful to the I Spy version of fruit. The name makes me patently uncomfortable, and I'm willing to bet fuck all thought went into its conception, pre-tossing a barrel of produce at the fabric and handing the model a bag that looks like the wrinkly sack of an extraterrestrial with a translucent green dick. Granted, this testicular venture is still leagues above the likes of Cherish My Juicy Cherry a la BTSSB, but that's a low fracking bar, and goddammit, this jewelry still looks like balls. This isn't even to mention Angelic Pretty's previous release of what appears to be a cloud in deathly need of a shot of penicillin. It has come to this reporter's attention that that small piece of carpet is supposed to be a pocket. I would like to know the brand of tequila it takes to stay up into the wee hours of the morning brainstorming different types of flooring that could be tortuously affixed to a perfectly innocent bag. It only gets weirder the longer you stare at it. Stand by for next week's release of head bow affixed to fully functioning toilet. On to releases that don't make me question the substance habits of Japanese designers. Angelic Pretty redeemed their fruit-fucking tendencies with the introduction of a print so spectacularly awesome I will hear no words about it that don't include synonyms for the best fracking thing since goddamn sliced bread. Granted, my taste in apparel is about as reliable as a house of cards. I will wear just about anything if you paint it pink. Fight me, Janice, you will pry my sweets prints out of my cold, dead hands. The series goes by the name Sugar Candy Shop. The majority sold out in under 5 minutes, and while sources say those expecting it to flop still don't give a shit, this reporter takes a twisted sense of vindication in seeing that there are other people in existence with an aesthetic taste that amounts to beating type 2 diabetes into a dress. Also, ice cream lace, it's the same lace that was used on Milky Planet. This has been your useless factoid for the installment. Meanwhile, BTSSB re-released the Elizabeth One Piece and headdress to celebrate their 30th anniversary, so cue the sound of 50 old schoolers going into cardiac arrest. And Triple Fortunes playing What Do You Do with a Drunken Seamstress. I'd ask why, but the answer would just be because Triple Fortune. Moving towards social news, not much of consequence erupted in the various communities that Lolitas congregate. This left a vacuous gap in content to read, and as some miserable millennial fuck is wont to do when her fellow frilly people aren't actively debating the best method to assassinate the dignity of the species, I ended up in this fashion's preeminent board for sea-based fowl. The thread was discussing scalpers. One name in particular turned out to be familiar, and in the interest of breaking into a new kind of special segment, I'd like to introduce to you all a Last Week Lolita News first, Storytime, the Belgian Lolita Mafia. It all began in 2016. Names have been changed to protect the stupid, and in the interest of brevity, let's kick things off with a micro shot of context. A What If a Lace Market segment came to the attention of its associated seller. I may have said something creatively heinous about the item, and this led to them contacting the LWLN Facebook page with what is to this day the most amazing message I have ever received. I recommend keeping strong liquor nearby, and without further ado, please enjoy the missives from the Belgian Lolita Mafia. It begins with the following message. Hi, are you there? I am not there. In fact, I am decently late to the conversation, but while I am still off pottering about, likely accomplishing some great feat like refilling my coffee mug or staring blankly at a wall, the seller, who we shall call Janice, sends me the following screen cap. This cap contains her open message with me, one other in English, and one in a language that, at the time, looked like the jumbled noises of a man with several mouthfuls of pudding vainly trying to produce a sentence. She did not censor the names of these people at all, and their back and forth reads as follows. Can report her again and again until she gets downed? She has multiple reports already now. The mro the better. Post in Belgian Lolitas. Her YouTube post is offensive. Yes. It has come to my attention that the language of pudding is apparently Dutch, and the second window translates roughly to Janice saying, quote, "But later on, I will not sell anything anymore, and for some stupid reason, I am always the victim of all the frigging people that you can take. I just feel like Neville of Harry Potter." Which is batshit in an impressive way, but it doesn't end there. Because, as if in some subtle sign of how this was going to go, at the top of the screen cap you might notice a little black bar. A little black bar that wasn't there in the original image. A little black bar that I put there to cover her full email address. Because when you're going to belligerently contact some acidic schmuck on the internet, the first thing you do is make sure that your full email address is available in the upper left. Pro tip, close your tabs first, then be a dick. This stroke of genius is then followed by an apology for translating her victimhood into Harry Potter references in Dutch because reasons, and it is at this point that the floodgates truly open. For you see, Janice is pissed. So pissed she's going to keep typing even though I've yet to respond. And like a pudding-mouthed walrus railing at the injustice of it all, she imparts what could possibly be construed as words. I will try to do them justice. Ahem. I wanted to thank you for mentioning my name, Janice, in your latest video on YouTube without even covering it. This is just really weak, and a lot of real Lolitas will not appreciate this thing you are doing. As you might know, as far as you claim to be a real Lolita, the Lolita community has a lot of hate. You put yourself in a real stupid position now, as there is already a lot of hate against you now, as you can see in the file. There will probably follow a lot more as you continue doing this. Damn it. I don't care if this was meant as a joke or anything, because if it was meant as a joke, you could at least cover my username or other usernames in the future. But yeah, you did not. I don't have to hear from you, a Lolita with only one or two stupid dresses, worthy clothes, and shitty style, that there is something wrong with me doing Lolita. I am not a mean person, but you friggin' started to insult me, and yes, I take this personally. Okay. This pudding-stained stream of consciousness is followed by yet another screen cap. I have yet to respond, and the 2 brain cells left in this woman's skull have apparently managed to censor the fracking names. A quick summary of this cap: one nitwit reported the video, the second announced an ears alert for the black Lolitas of Ruffle Chat, the third said I was totally trying to offend Janice, and the fourth asked how dare she comment others. So in synopsis, put the English language in a blender and you get this cap. I still haven't answered yet, but given the amount of spare time this woman must spend pitching a barely legible shit fit at strangers, she continues with, more people. I reported her video because she used photo without asking me. She's supposed to ask first. Did she really use your picture? Couldn't use people photo. Yeah, the My Melody photo dress. I didn't saw this. God damn it. That pudding parade aside, I did finally done saw the message I are supposed to earlier, and the Neville from Harry Potter I should just feel like say what I must about the photo dress. The former is my best attempt at speaking to her in her native language, and what follows is what I actually said because I can only speak like this woman for so long before my brain lets out a shriek of agony. Please note that I still had hope for some sensibility from this person and responded to her illiterate flailing with the following. In the US, the use of media for news or criticism is protected. I run a news/criticism YouTube show. Every photo I use was posted in a public context, making them available as a news or criticism item. As for the What the Fuck Lace Market segment, I purposely Photoshop the seller's name onto their item so that anyone who wants to purchase it can do so, because while I might think it's silly or otherwise, someone else might love it. Brief, direct, and utterly lost on Janice, who now flies into the best shit fit I have ever had the pleasure to read. Yes, why don't you do this a lot more, as you will ruin yourself. I guess you never go to Lolita events, one word. They probably won't even let you in without brand. However, if you keep continuing doing this, you can't go anywhere. I have a lot of connections. And be sure of it, I made sure every great Lolita model, one word, knows about this already. So whatever the hell you're doing, just quit. You have 31 Instagram followers. One dress, I mean question mark. Do you even know anything about Lolita? Try to be a good Lolita first when you try to insult others, no? You also used my friend's cord. My friend, who happens to have cords worth over $2,000, just like myself. You really picked the wrong people, woman. This masterpiece was preceded by, you even get hate mail while drinking from a bottle, not to imagine the hate you'll receive. I think she's trying to say something about infancy here, maybe an age player. It would explain why she types like she has a mouthful of pudding. She then provides yet further gems, such as, one of my friends. She never gonna show up to meets cause she look like a mess. And caps it off with, LOL, I don't think she gonna be welcome to my meets either. I'm just look at her in disgust if I see her. and so on. Oh no, whatever shall I do? Belgium is practically in my backyard, right? If by backyard you mean a 15-hour flight away, and by oh no you mean oh wait, this doesn't affect my life in any way, is this woman quack-fuckingly crazy? That last question was rhetorical. Needless to say, I realized I was dealing with a special breed of international idiot. There was no way this was going to end well, and I sent the only thing I thought she would understand. Here, have a puppy. This puppy, specifically, for reasons related to jangling a shiny object in front of a toddler, with which I had some success, for her final response was simply, haha, you were so going to ruin yourself in Lolita. Oh well, I warned you. I went back to staring blankly at the wall, she to shriek gargling globs of pudding at strangers, and now you all know the international incident that was the Belgian Lolita Mafia. Their friends have cords worth over $2,000. They have a lot of connections, and they will report your video, but nothing will come of it because no one gives a flying frack about some goddamn waffle fuckers in a country small enough to be eaten by a major metropolitan area. Because that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for watching Last Week Lolita News, and be sure to tune in next week when we tackle the tough questions like, did I just insult an entire country? How many pudding jokes is too many? And for God's sake, someone tell this fracking woman to censor her email address. I can't deal with this level of godforsaken incompetence without wanting to submit the fracking thing to the nearest subscription point for horsefuckers.net. I don't know if that's a real website. In all seriousness, I'm not going to send her email to it, but I fucking want to. This has been Tyler. You've been watching Scarfing Scarves, and before you go off to question the existence of a secret cabal of Belgian fuckwits, you should know that this show is sponsored in part by Lolita Des, a secondhand Lolita and J-fashion shop based in Japan with excellent English-speaking staff and an official sponsor of Last Week Lolita News. Lolita Des, when nothing will fill the gaping hole left in your soul post seeing your native language dragged through a wind tunnel, you're pretty sure knint isn't a word, and only retail therapy will distract you from the fact that you share a planet with the likes of these testaments to human mediocrity. Link to their shop below, and to wrap this up with a big fracking bow, I'd like to thank my patrons for their endurance throughout this maelstrom. The show wouldn't be the same without you guys, and if you've taken leave of your senses long enough to actually consider this as a good idea, someone told you that associating with undermedicated prats totally wouldn't have any side effects, or you just feel like having a front seat to the eventual nuclear meltdown that this reporter casually calls all day, every day, then head over to patreon.com/lastweeklolita News for more content that may or may not be the foremost example of what is wrong with America today. Thanks again, guys, and I'll catch you next time on Last Week Lolita News.